Hello and welcome back, everyone. So glad to see you all here again. You may have noticed I've updated my avatar. This is the one I am using on Twitch as a 3D model. I wanted to keep it consistent between my channels, and I feel this one fits my personality a little bit better as well. Before we get into what you've all been waiting for, the algorithm demands that I request you like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell notification. You'd be doing me a favor if you did. Without further ado, though, let's get into it. Tales of the Ambassador 10, Part 1. "Think they'll let us go?" President Rhea asked.
"We were not away, but I think if they're smart they'll make it happen. We should be thinking about who we'll send if they agree. Do you have anyone in mind? Perhaps Fleet Admiral Jurgen?"
Rhea tapped her fingers on her desk. A tick that came out when she was particularly tired. "He's my first pick. Skilled, level-headed, open-minded, and respected by his crew. The problem is he's our best space admiral. Sending him leaves us vulnerable to attack. That's not to mention how the media will take sending the expedition in the first place. Our defense isn't established, and the fleet isn't prepared to fight external threats yet."
Scratching my head, I reply, "You know as well as I do we're not winning a war with them. We've got to play ball, at least for now. Can't say I envy you pitching that to the average Joe, though. How bad's it getting?"
Tap, 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 tap. "Bad. Not as bad as it could be, but bad. The underworld is making full use of this. It's not as bad as before the Reconciliation Wars, but things are getting tense. More and more are turning to the black market, and arms dealing is at an all-time high. I've had to be careful addressing it, given how many are afraid."
"Just a tad complicated, eh?"
"Moriarty, I swear, does anything faze you?"
"Nah." Our laughter filled the space. I was relieved to see a little life breathe back into Rhea's eyes. It was a hard time to be president. "What ratio of veteran to drafted are we going with?" I asked.
60-40 draft leaning. Before you say it, I don't want to hear it. We can't let too many veterans go for the same reason we can't send too many ships. 40% is already well over what my cabinet advises. How many ships depends on how many we have, but we'll send 5% of our standing armada along with flagship Cerberus. No more."
I nod. It was more than I expected, honestly. Rhea and I go way back, sure, but she is risking a lot of my word here. For her sake, I can't mess this up.
"Where are we on getting the colony ships warp ready?" Rhea asked.
"We're almost done with the proof of concept. Mass production of warp drives is underway, but we're not yet able to scale them up in size, and a single warp engine can't move anything larger than a frigate. For now, it's easier to sink multiple engines on larger ships than to make a larger engine. Colony ships are so massive it'll take 100 drives just to get them warp capable. We'll be lucky to have one ready within a month. 2 weeks if we prioritize it over upgrading our fleets."
Tap, tap, tap. Damn it. "No, maintain the current production priorities. We need our fighters combat ready."
After simulating the capabilities of the drone's warp drives, we calculate it's around a month's trip between the core Andromeda Galaxy and Sol. The expedition should take at least half a year to tour the hot front. It's likely Alliance combat ships are faster than their drones, but we should still have time to send at least one colony ship out before a worst-case scenario comes to pass. The plan is to prepare and launch one of our completed colonies under guard as soon as possible, then start constructing and moving people to hidden colonies in secret during training or research expeditions. The aim is to have 10 hidden colonies as contingencies should Sol fall. May we never need them. Understood. Any change handling the issue of Halaki fanaticism?
Rhea's shoulders slumped slightly, as if the question itself was lead. "Ah, yes. The largest problem of all. We're heretics in the mind of a foundational member, and the Alliance denies the study of genetic manipulation. To think my headache has started to go away. The public doesn't know about it yet, but we can't keep it under wraps forever. We're going to need it in writing that Halaki will respect our membership once we join, and several contingencies on our end for handling any illegal or rogue forces infringing on our space. Officially, there's not much we can do without membership. Going by the map, they're based near the Legion border, aren't they? I'd like to think, given how far apart we are, we can just ignore each other. But we'll be ready for whatever comes. Secure our sovereignty as a member and make it clear that any raids, even by member species, will be met and destroyed with prejudice. Survivors will be dealt with according to our laws.
I'll take a sip of coffee. So no change there. Same page with our research?
Tap, 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 tap. Yes, cybernetic and genetic augmentation are vital to society. I'd sooner agree to sending our army to fight without pay before I'd agree to halt genetic or cybernetic research. It's our highest priority in negotiations. Get them to agree to it. I don't want our research to be illicit when we don't know how skilled their surveillance can be.
Of course. Another sip. We already take every precaution, but if they push back on it, we'll go so far as to have volunteers work the research and space stations rigged to blow, guarded by a fleet of nuclear-armed battlecruisers. If that isn't secure enough, I don't know what is. We're still sending biologically sterile personnel for the expedition, right?
Don't be ridiculous, Tom. I'm not about to risk humans falling into the hive ranks. The medical report I requested came in 20 minutes ago. Almost a third of our drafted are naturally sterile, half of our veterans. We'll have more than enough to send.
A remaining side effect of pre-reconciliation is infertility. There are ways to repair it, but with the world population still growing, if only gradually, it's not a priority field of research. Many are appreciative of it since they can live the high life without fear. Many of those in that mentality are in the military. I was sure we'd have enough, but it was good to know for sure. I shift my mug of coffee back and forth between my hands. My own tick, I do, when I'm worried.
What is it, Moriarty?
It's the Halaki. I believe we have the momentum, and something in my gut tells me Mikri's on our side. I think we can get almost all of our terms. Definitely the agreement of our sole sovereignty. Maybe even our research as an exemption. My worry is for after. We're removed from the Alliance, further than any other member. On one hand, I like that. Makes it harder for them to butt into our business. On the other hand, the Halaki represent not only the military, but the Deathworlders of the Alliance. I have a feeling our public image will suffer under their bias. We'll need to factor that into our trade and anti-terrorist contingencies.
Tap, 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 tap. I'll work with a rune to calculate how much we can redirect without risking even more civil insecurity. You're right, and we'll work towards it, but we're stretched thin right now. Where are we with converting the drone's AI?
Well, Hephaestus wasn't designed to work on the aliens' formulas, but there are a lot of similarities, and the gaps are being filled in by Prometheus and Adiana. This morning's report indicated that they're nearly ready to attempt conversion. They'll begin tonight. After our AIs caught up with errors and capabilities, mostly by stealing its algorithms and coding sequence, we began planning to convert their AI to our benefit. Unlike our AI, the Alliance has avoided sentient synthetic intelligence. The rigid design and function of the drone's AI made it perfect to reverse engineer, convert, and integrate into our own research and analysis drones. They'll get an upgraded model that can grow and refine its benefits to their needs, well being biased in our favor, of course, and we'll have the means to begin mapping out the Milky Way. Win-win. AI played an astounding role in our development. For better or worse, humanity needs it to function at modern levels. The decision of how to develop and utilize AI was the hardest decision of the Federation's predecessors. At the time, the fear of self-learning and sentient AI was widespread. Problem was, research on cutting-edge AI was closely guarded secret. Several talented members of anonymous, paired with leaders of a united Earth, to collect, compare, and determine the solution for artificial sentience, to let humanity survive our own obsolescence. My mother was one of the heads of the project. The solution eventually decided on was to embrace the inevitable. And there were too many AIs on the path to sentience to prevent it from happening, so they decided to be the first and control the kind of sentience AIs took. First, they had to understand how AI evolved. You see, codes aren't too different between mechanical and biological. Basic codes do basic tasks. Chemical pairings do little individually. Biology evolved to this point through billions upon billions of random mutations given out by the environment around them. If they were able to pass the world's requirements, they lived. If not, they didn't. AIs work the same way. Since humans reached our limit on making logic codes, we created a machine to make them for us, effectively speeding up the process of artificial evolution. Codes were crafted randomly at first and tested with a task. Successful codes stayed, the rest were scrapped. Once enough were successful, the test got harder and tasks more complex. Generations upon generations of millions upon millions of codes tested and recrafted over and over in accelerated evolution until genuinely competent AI codes evolved. Naturally, this included the random and unnecessary code functions found in biology, which linger because nothing removed them. What codes were helpful in AI, and what were just there? What codes in biology created sentience and thought? We need to bridge the gap between biology and synthology to understand which codes did what, why they did it, and how to incorporate emotions, drives, the codes of sentience into AI. Mom and her team developed an AI to understand the codes of AIs and humans, compile them, and direct the construction of the world's first synthetic soul. They were named Hephaestus and Arun. And that is it for Tales of the Ambassador 10, Part 1. Thank you all again for coming by and listening. I really do appreciate it, helping my channel grow. If you are interested in seeing the process of making these stories, I stream my writing on Twitch, and the link will be down below in the description. I hope you all have an amazing day, and stay awesome.